The Flash, Fastest Man Alive issue 7 sees rats swarm the streets of Central City, attacking people who are all saved by the Flash, taking them to a safe rooftop. Flash knows who did this, but doesn't know what the Pied Piper is planning. Heading into his rat-covered office, Barry wonders what Pied Piper is using his sonic frequencies to get the rats to do, learning he's not just using one frequency, but hundreds. He tries to hone in on the signals, but the power goes out thanks to the rats, so heading to Iron Heights, Flash begins interviewing the rogues, who refuse to talk to the heroes since rogues are all loyal to one another. Soon it comes time to talk to Captain Cold, who is surprised the Scarlet Speedster is there. Flash tells him he doesn't like to have to be there since the prison brings back painful memories of his past, as Leonard calls him the softest man alive, telling the hero there is something he wants, but revenge will have to wait. He refuses to tell Flash where Piper is, and this is the only place Piper hasn't overrun with rats. Barry gets an idea, knowing he needs to look where they aren't, so speeding off, Flash leaves Snart to realize he had said too much. Barry soon finds Pied Piper in the park, playing his sonic frequencies. The villain hates being interrupted, so he blasts Flash with his sonic waves, but Barry blasts back even harder, using his speed to create tornadoes to blast the villain back, taking his flute. Piper says that if he doesn't stop playing, he will never find her. Barry learns that the villain is actually looking for a little girl, who has been missing for weeks, and her father turned to him for help when the cops couldn't help and gave up. He says his rats can look all over the city in places he can't find, and figured it would be worth the chaos. Barry knows that he shouldn't have jumped to conclusions, since when he was little his dad was accused of murder and it changed his and Barry's life forever. Barry apologizes, giving him his flute bat and asking to help. Piper says that he will play and wait for a signal to appear, and when it does, Barry races off to get the girl. Later, news says that the Flash was instrumental in finding the girl, as Barry calls Iris, checking in on her after all the rats. He says he was just thinking about his father, wondering if she has some time to talk. Sometime later, Iris waits for Barry at the airport as they are called to final boarding of their plane to Citrus City Resort Island. Barry rushes into the airport late, learning from the angry Iris that they have missed their plane thanks to him once again being late. Barry tries to explain he was working, but Iris says everyone does, but it's been 6 months, and while she is doing everything she can, he can't ever be on time. So she's going on this vacation and Barry isn't coming with her. As Iris leaves, Barry knows that he's the fastest man alive, but right now he feels like the dumbest. At Star Labs, fighter test pilot Cathal Cade gets ready to test a new faster-than-light engine, hugging his wife and beginning the countdown. Suddenly there is a warp vortex malfunction and the system explodes, engulfing a large section of the city. Despite wallowing in his self-pity, the Flash races into action, rescuing the lab's technicians only to find Dr. Ilyana Volkov has been killed. Barry knows all about her being a pariah in the quantum physics community for her experiments, but she also married a washed-up fighter pilot named Cathal. Suddenly Barry is hit by an electric blast from a giant monster, which stuns the hero. The monster fires again, but Barry runs from the energy, running circles around the villain, having no idea what he is battling, but it's ripping a hole through time. Soon he realizes that the being is powered by a self-perpetuating nuclear reactor, meaning the monster and even Barry are now radioactive. In the rubble, he spots some boron-silver control rods, which can absorb the neutrons and slow radioactivity. Grabbing them, he wraps the monster in the rods, which neutralize its radioactive properties, making Barry realize it wasn't a monster at all, but Cathal, who wanted to save his wife Ilyana. With Cade subdued, he tells Flash everything about the FTL drive and how it used dark matter to fuel fission. Learning of this, Barry knows that the dark matter fused with Cade's cerebral cortex, meaning he can expand and contract space-time while radiating like a nuclear reactor, and this particular energy can be used to travel through space and time. The man knows this doesn't change his wife dying, but Barry thinks that he can time travel and save her. Barry knows of the dangers, but Cade asks if he's ever been in love, since he would do anything for his wife, and he thinks Barry would do the same with his love. Barry won't let him leave, but Cade powers up, breaking out of the control rods and opening a portal to before his test drive, diving through the portal and destroying his ship, killing himself in the process, but in doing so, saves his wife. The timeline is altered and Cathal Cade dies instead of Ilyana, who buries her husband. Barry knows that Cathal sacrificed himself so she could live, and every time he's tried to do that, he just doesn't have the heart to, and didn't know what to say. Later, Barry meets with Iris at the airport, saying he's been waiting there for her for 7 hours, since he wanted to make sure he was early for once. Thanks to his recent adventures, Barry hugs Iris, knowing he has finally learned to say sorry. The Flash Fastest Man Alive issue 7 were two really great stories with great and relevant messages of not judging a book by its cover and learning to say you're sorry. I love Barry learned to admit when he was in the wrong and teaming with one of his rogues to help a little girl, while Jay Baruchel's excellent story kind of followed through on those lessons a little and fixed his relationship with Iris, something we've been seeing building in the background of all of these issues so far. I've enjoyed the running continuity of these digital books, none more so than the Flash's and his budding relationship with Iris, as well as fighting all of his rogues for either the first time or one of the first times, since the stories feel more personal compared to the real grandiose storytelling in the main Flash ongoing at the moment. I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10.